Good evening, Facebook. Good evening, Facebook and Instagram family. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Billionaires Roundtable Conference. I'm Tony, and the music that you're listening to in the background, we don't own the rights to. But if you have any comments, questions, or anything that you care to share, man, hit us in the boxes down below, and we'll gladly get back to you, man. Email us. Either we'll get back to you in email, or we'll respond as best we can in the comment section. The music that you're listening to in the background, we don't own the rights to. But if you have any comments or questions, as I said, hit us in the boxes down below. Man, thank you for this Wednesday evening, for sharing this time with us. Man, my partner, he's not here. He may come late. He has other responsibilities in the evenings, and I guess today he just couldn't get off in time to make it here. But I'm gonna try my best to fill in. Okay. On our platform, we have Billionaires Roundtable Conference. We have Back to the World. We have Tony Ford. And we have Sonetquity, all on Facebook and Instagram. And for all of you that's out there, man, again, thank you guys for coming on board. Just to bring you up to date, we got a lot going on, man. We got so much in our wheelhouse, and we've been navigating and basically trying to find our way. Okay. We have so many things to offer, individuals of all walks. We have so many things to offer, and we just want them to be utilized, and we want you guys, our audience, our public, to take full advantage of it. And we started this thing when we started Sonetquity. Well, when we started Back to the World, we started it during the pandemic. And we just turned the cameras on, and we got before it, and we start speaking from our hearts. We start speaking, things that we wanted to share with our audience. We wanted to build a nucleus so that everyone can prosper. That's our ultimate goal. So we started with Back to the World, and 5 years later, here we are. We're still here. We're finding our way, and we're charting the waters as we go. So we've had to morph, we've had to evolve, and we've had to change. But one thing that we had not done that we may be getting ready to do, we're going to do pretty much some organized, structured production. All right, we have a format that we're going to be using for Billionaires Roundtable Conference, and I'm talking about where it's going to be a continuation. We're going to learn, and we're going to teach, we're going to share, and at the same time we're going to learn. Okay, and in a minute I'll show you what we'll be teaching from. Let me raise this camera up one more time here. Okay. All right. Good evening, Anita. Glad you can join us. There's so many. I'm looking out the window. I'm just trying to see if my partner's coming. Our camera's going out again. It's a one-man show, ladies and gentlemen. So just bear with us. Our presentation may not be to your likings, but I tell you, our production is something that you can marvel. Okay? So, now, as I said, starting next week, not this week. This week we're just giving you an introduction. Starting next week, we will be doing that format, and it will be more formulaic. We will definitely send out notifications letting everyone know to come on board that we're about to go live. we're gonna hopefully receive your input, your feedback, because this is important, right? Feedback is very, very important. I only know what's resonating to you by you sharing with me what it is that either satisfies or dissatisfies you. Okay? So that's pretty much the only way that I can tell. All right? And then, we'll transition through that and we'll go forward. But I found something that I just want to share with all the audience, because I've read this book pretty much from cover to cover. And this is what we're going to be teaching and sharing from the Prosperity Bible. Okay? So I guess you guys say you guys are about to go to church, something like that. And we're going to share everything that the Prosperity Bible has to offer, because many of us think that there are so many things that you have to do out of the norm in order to be successful financially. Well, see, success is ubiquitous. It's all over the place. Nobody owns it, yet everybody can have it. All right? And based on the laws of the universe, there are certain things that you have to do, certain things that you have to put in motion in order to receive that. Just about everybody that's successful, right? Whether it was by accident or whether it was on purpose, they did many of the tenets that are listed in this Prosperity Bible. Again, I hold this up to you. This is what we're going to be teaching from. Okay? We're going to be teaching from the Prosperity Bible. All right? So, I just wanted to read some of the introduction from the artist's preface, okay? It says, in every chapter of this book, mention has been made of the money-making secrets which has made fortunes for more than 500 exceedingly wealthy men, whom I have carefully analyzed over a long period of years. The secret was brought to my attention by Andrew Carnegie more than a quarter of a century ago. The canny, lovable old Scotsman carefully tossed it into my mind when I was but a boy. Then he sat back in his chair with a merry twinkle in his eyes and watched carefully to see if I had brains enough to understand the full significance of what he had to say. When he saw that I had grasped the idea, he asked if I would be willing to spend 20 years or more preparing myself to take it to the world, to men and women who without the secret might go through life as failures. I said I would, and with Mr. Carnegie's cooperation, I have kept my promise. When he saw that this book contains the secret, after having been put to a practical test by thousands of people in almost every walk of life, it was Mr. Carnegie's idea that the magic formula, which gave him a stupendous fortune, ought to be placed within reach of people who do not have time to investigate how men make money, and it was his hope that I would test and demonstrate the soundness of the formula through the experience of men, women, in every calling. He believed the formula should be taught in all public schools, colleges, and expressed the opinion that if it were properly taught, it would so revolutionize the entire educational system that the time spent in school could be reduced to less than half. See, as he's saying that the secret to success is a formula, and we're going to get down to the crux of what that formula is. This is what we're going to be teaching from. And there's so much to share with you because it goes into your diet. It goes into your physical health. It goes into your mental health. It also goes into your spiritual health, how you relate to people, how you relate to loved ones, how you relate to your kids, how you relate to friends, how you relate to subordinates, how you relate to your superiors. You know, you don't just get it and it comes to you automatically. You know, sometimes there are an outlier, and sometimes some people are an anomaly. They will be successful regardless. And you know, there are those who are like that. They can do no wrong. Okay? And then you see that some of the most rude, the most obnoxious, the most arrogant people are wealthy. See, wealth doesn't care who owns it. But you know, and I say this with all due sincerity, God understands the holder, those who embrace the success and the whole bit. And he gives it to you. He's done it to me. He gives it to you so you can see what it is that you have and what you can take advantage of. What's going on, Skinny? How you doing, brother? You know? But then at the blink of an eye, he'll take it from you because he knows that you're not worthy of it. Okay? So this is what getting your house in order is all about. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to teach that and share that. Of course, we still have our book club and our online bookstore, and we're still doing Batana. We have that in place for you, should you so desire to participate and be a part of it. Some people have all the attributes. They just don't know where to apply that talent. They don't know where to apply that skill. They don't know where to apply that energy. Well, when we get through with you, and we get through with many of these lessons, you will know if you are a leader or not. And just because you're not a leader, it doesn't make you obsolete. Because somebody has to man the helm. All right? See, the owner of the Los Angeles Clippers, right? You know, he went to school with Bill Gates. He went to school with Bill Gates and Paul Allen, right? And he had dreams and aspirations of doing other things. But when Bill Gates and Paul Allen developed the software and the company Microsoft, they hired their friend, and I know right now the name escapes me and I'm searching my mind for it, but anyway, he was like a third wheel. See, Bill Gates and Paul Allen, they had the wherewithal to create the software, all right, that will revolutionize the world at that particular time, Microsoft Windows. They had the wherewithal to develop this. But the product was so good until it just flew off the shelf. Everyone wanted it. And every now and then you can hit a product or a service and you can knock it out the park immediately. Everybody's not that lucky. And lots of times that's what it is. But they weren't so much lucky as it was. That's when opportunity, and they call it luck the whole bit, but they was properly prepared. But neither of those guys had management skills. Neither of those guys. Camera went out for a second here. We're going to wait for it to come back on. But I'm going to get back to reading in a minute. Okay, once the camera comes back on here. Taking longer than usual here. Come on, camera. Come on, camera. Man, this was going too good. It was almost too good to be true. But at any rate, I'm going to let it continue to turn, man. It's saying that trying to reconnect. Maybe our Wi-Fi is acting up. We have too much energy on. But anyway, this gentleman, he was very adept at management. So they got together and they sat down and they asked him if he can put his plans aside, right, in order to operate or help them operate their business and get it going. So they hired him as the president at that particular time. Bill Gates was the CEO, and I think he and Paul Allen was co-CEOs or what have you. But they operated the company, and this gentleman, man, he just took the company to a whole nother level. Okay, he put his dreams on hold. His dreams were deferred. Wow, hold on a sec. There we are. We're back. His dreams were deferred. Is that my partner? No. His dreams were deferred while he helped build Microsoft. So a lot of people are like, you know what? I have a dream. I have an idea, and and they feel like, okay, my idea is my idea, so it has to be better than your idea. Not always. You see, because he took that company from zero to where it is today, one of the largest corporations in the world. And as a matter of fact, they were hit with the Sherman Act. And the Sherman Act was when there was a monopoly. Microsoft had a monopoly on all the softwares for just about every computer. The same way Apple was doing with the cell phones and all of their devices and all of their connector pieces. Okay? So I'm going to show you how successful you can be sometimes just by operating someone else's company. The gentleman that I'm speaking of that owns the Los Angeles Clippers, at this point in time, Paul Allen is deceased. May he rest in peace. He died over 10 years ago. But Bill Gates is still living. Bill Gates is the founder and the CEO, former CEO, and he's chairman emeritus of Microsoft. At this point in time, the person that they hired as president in this year's Forbes magazine, he's wealthier than Bill Gates. Okay? He's wealthier than Bill Gates. And I know this guy's name, man, I just can't think of it right now. But anyway, he's the owner of the LA Clippers, and he used to be the CEO. After Bill Gates stepped down, he became CEO of Microsoft. So sometimes you can put your dream or your ideas on hold. And we call it chasing the bag. I don't like that term, but let's call it that, chasing the bag. So he saw that the shortest distance to the bag was what Bill Gates and Paul Allen had built. And everyone that invested in Microsoft at that particular time, and most of its employees, became millionaires, multimillionaires, and just about some became billionaires. Had you invested in the mid-'80s, had you invested $1,000 in Microsoft, today, you will be close to $100 million. Okay? And that's for running someone else's company. So let me read the next part of this here. Okay. His experience with Charles M. Schwab and other young men of Mr. Schwab's type convinced Mr. Carnegie that much of that which is taught in the schools is of no value whatsoever in connection with the business of earning a living or accumulating riches. He had arrived at this decision because he had taken into his business one young man after another, many of them with but little schooling, and by coaching them in the use of this formula, developed in them rare leadership. Moreover, his coaching made fortunes for every one of them who followed his instructions. And sometimes that's all you have to do, ladies and gentlemen. Let me raise up this camera again. Sometimes all you have to do is follow instructions. Hey, Cousin Ethel, how are you? How are you? Okay. So, again, wealth is a formula. It's just like the Bible tells you to pray, tells you to fast, all right? It tells you to be humble. All of these are tenets, and these are things that you should follow, which therefore would make you a great servant of the Most High. Well, the Most High created this too, because the wealth formula is from the universe. And as we read later in the weeks or the months to come, you will learn what these formulas are and how the universe creates them. Okay? It's all linked and it's all connected. And the instructions are so dead on. All you have to do is just simply follow them, man. It's just like when you get a product that you're about to prepare, you're about to cook. All right? You have the ingredients and it tells you what all the ingredients are. So, if it's just a hodgepodge and you just throw everything in there, the whole bit, I don't think you're going to get the meal in which you're chasing. I don't think you're going to get the meal in which you're after. But if you follow the instructions strategically and you implement those ingredients in certain intervals, so many parts, so much time, 9 times out of 10 you'll get the dish that you desire. Well, that's the way it is with the formula for wealth. Okay? In the chapter on faith, you will read the astounding story of the organization of giant United States steel corporations. And it was conceived and carried out by one of the young men through whom Mr. Carnegie proved that his formula will work for all who are ready for it. The single application of the secret by that young man, Charles M. Schwab, made him a huge fortune in both money and opportunity. Roughly speaking, this particular application of the formula was worth $600 million. Now, this is $600 million in the late 1800s. Okay? These facts, as they are facts well known to almost everyone who knew Mr. Carnegie, give you a fair idea of what the reading of this book may bring to you, provided you know what it is that you want. Even before it had undergone 20 years of practical testings, the secret was passed on to more than 100,000 men and women who have used it for their personal benefit, as Mr. Carnegie's planned that they should. Some have made fortunes with it. Others have used it successfully in creating harmony in their homes. I tell you, wealth is not just money. Success is not just money. It's harmony. It's humility. It's a peace of mind. It's happiness, really. It's your own utopia. Okay, a clergyman used it so effectively that it brought him an income of upwards of $75,000 a year. Arthur Nash, a Cincinnati tailor, used his near bankrupt business as a guinea pig on which to test the formula. The business came to life and made a fortune for its owners. It is still thriving today, although Mr. Nash is gone. The experiment was so unique that newspaper and magazines gave it more than $1 million worth of laudatory publicity. The secret was passed on to Stuart Austin Wire of Dallas, Texas. He was ready for it, so ready that he gave up his profession and studied law. Did he succeed? That story is told too. I gave the secret to Jennings Randolph the day he graduated from college, and he has used it so successfully that he is now serving his 3rd term as a member of Congress, with an excellent opportunity to keep on using it until it carries him to the White House. While serving as advertising manager of the LaSalle Extension University, when it was little more than a name, I had the privilege of seeing J.G. Chapline, president of the university, use the formula so effectively that he has since made the LaSalle one of the great extension schools of the country. The secret to which I refer has been mentioned no fewer than 100 times throughout this book. It has not been directly named, for it seems to work more successfully when it is merely uncovered and left in sight, when those who are ready and searching for it may pick it up. That is why Mr. Carnegie tossed it to me so quietly without giving me its specific name. If you are ready to put it to use, you will recognize this secret at least once in every chapter. I wish I might feel privileged to tell you how you will know if you are ready, but that would deprive you of much of the benefit you will receive when you make this discovery in your own way. So basically what he's saying, as we read, he wants you to decipher. He wants you to pick out what could that be. Because at the end, as it culminates, he's going to tell us exactly what that secret was. And now you'll have to ruminate through your mind and through your memory to see if you were on point as we read and as we study and as we teach and as we listen. So I'm going to finish up on this. Okay. While this book was written, my own son, who was then finishing the last year of his college work, picked up the manuscript of chapter 2, read it, and discovered the secrets for himself. He used the information so effectively that he went directly into a responsible position at a beginning salary greater than the average man ever earns. His story has been briefly described in chapter 2. When you read it, perhaps you will dismiss any feeling you may have had at the beginning of the book that it promised too much. And 2, if you have ever been discouraged, if you have difficulties to surmount, which took the very soul out of you, if you have tried and failed, if you were handicapped by illness or physical affliction, this story of my son's discovery and use of the Carnegie formula may prove to be the oasis in the desert of lost hope for which you have been searching. This secret was extensively used by President Woodrow Wilson during the World War. It was passed on to every soldier who fought in the war, carefully wrapped in the training received before going to the front. President Wilson told me it was a strong factor in raising the funds needed for the war. More than 20 years ago, Honorable Manuel L. Quezon, the resident commissioner of the Philippine Islands, was inspired by the secret to gain freedom for his people. He has gained freedom for the Philippines and is the first president of the Free State. A peculiar thing about this secret is that those who once acquire it and use it find themselves literally swept on to success with but little effort, and they never again submit to failure. If you doubt this, study the names of those who have used it. Whether they have been mentioned, check their records for yourself and be convinced. There is no such thing as something for nothing. The secret to which I refer cannot be had without a price, although the price is far less than its value. It cannot be had at any price by those who are not intentionally searching for it. It cannot be given away. It cannot be purchased for money, for the reason that it comes in 2 parts. One part is already in possession of those who are ready for it. The secret serves equally well all who are ready for it. Education has nothing to do with it. Long before I was born, the secret had found its way into possession of Thomas A. Edison, and he used it so intelligently that he became the world's leading inventor, although he had but 3 months of schooling. The secret was passed on to a business associate of Mr. Edison. He used it so effectively that although he was then making only $12,000 a year, he accumulated a great fortune and retired from active business while still a young man. You will find his story at the beginning of the 1st chapter. It should convince you that riches are not beyond your reach, that you can still be what you wish to be, that money, fame, recognition, happiness can be had by all who are ready and determined to have the blessings. How do I know these things? You should have the answer before you finish this book. You may find it in the very 1st chapter or on to the last page. While I was performing 20-year tasks of research, which I had undertaken at Mr. Carnegie's request, I analyzed hundreds of well-known men, many of whom admitted that they had accumulated their vast fortunes through the aid of Carnegie's secret. Among these men were, and I will name them, Henry Ford. We know Henry Ford, the automobile magnate. William Wrigley, that's the gum maker. John Wanamaker, he's a stock man. James Hill, George S. Parker, E. M. Statler, Henry L. Doherty, Cyrus Curtis, George Eastman, Theodore Roosevelt, John W. Davis, Elbert Hubbard, Wilbur Wright, William Jennings Bryan, Dr. David Starr Jordan, J. Ogden Armour, Charles M. Schwab, Harris, sorry about that, y'all. Harris F. Williams, Dr. Frank Gunsalos, King Gillette, Judge Daniel T. Wright, Thomas A. Edison, F. W. Woolworth, Edward A. Fellini, Arthur Brisbane, William Howard Taft, Edward W. Bach, Albert H. Gary, John H. Patterson, Stuart Austin Wire, George M. Alexander, Honorable Jennings Randolph, Clarence Darrow, Daniel Willard, Ralph Weeks, John D. Rockefeller, Frank A. Vanderlip, Colonel Robert A. Dollar, Edwin C. Barnes, Woodrow Wilson, Luther Burbank, Frank A. Munsey, Dr. Alexander Graham Bell, Dr. Frank Crane, Julius Rosenwald, J.C. Chaplin, and Arthur Nash. These names represent but a small fraction of the hundreds of well-known Americans who's achieved financially and otherwise prove that those who understand and apply the Carnegie secret reach big stations in life. I have never known anyone who was inspired to use the secret who did not achieve noteworthy success in his chosen calling. I have never known any person to distinguish himself or to accumulate riches of the consequence without possession of the secret. From these two facts, I draw the conclusion that the secret is more important as a part of the knowledge essential for self-determination that any which one receives through what is popularly known as education. What is education anyway? This has been answered in full detail. As far as schooling is concerned, many of these men have very little. John Wanamaker once told me that what little schooling he had is acquired in very much the same manner as a modern locomotive takes on water by scooping it up as it runs. Henry Ford never reached high school, let alone college. I am not attempting to minimize the value of schooling, but I am trying to express my earnest belief that those who master and apply the secret will reach high stations, accumulate riches, and bargain with life on their own terms, even if their schooling has been meager. Somewhere as you read, the secret to which I refer will jump from the page and stand boldly before you. If you are all ready for it, are you ready for it? When it appears, you will recognize it. Whether you receive the sign in the first or the last chapter, stop for a moment when it presents itself and turn down a glass, for that occasion will mark the most important turning point of your life. We pass now to chapter 1 and to the story of my very dear friend who has generously acknowledged having seen the mystic sign and whose business achievements are evidence enough that he turned down a glass. As you read his story and the others, remember that they deal with the important problems of life, such as all men's experience. The problems arise from one's endeavor to earn a living, to find hope, courage, contentment, and peace of mind, to accumulate riches, and to enjoy freedom of the body and the spirit. Remember too, as you go through the book, that it deals with facts and not with fiction. Its purpose being to convey a great universal truth through which all who are ready may learn not only what to do, but also how to do it, and receive as well the needed stimulus to make a start. As a final word of preparation, before you begin the first chapter, may I offer one brief suggestion, which may prove a clue by which the Carnegie secret may be recognized. It is this: all achievement, all earned riches have their beginnings in an ideal. If you are ready for the secret, you already possess one half of it. Therefore, you will readily recognize the other half the moment it reaches your mind. The author. This is not a freak off. I know many of you are probably saying, man, that sounds like something that Puffy did in order to become rich. As I said, some people back into wealth. Just because Puffy, see, keep in mind too, money doesn't really changes anyone. Money just reveals more of who and what you are. So, not to castigate Puffy or what have you, but before Puffy had money, this is who he was. Money just gave him the opportunity to act it out. Okay? Just about everybody that has a lot of money, they either already have maybe some what we call weird idiosyncrasies, or some things that are confusing to most who don't have money. But they couldn't act these things out at that particular time because they were broke. They were probably shy, probably embarrassed. But when they get money, they feel free to act on these whims. Okay? And if you are a humble and gracious person, you will be benevolent. But keep in mind, Puffy gave away a lot. Because these are part of the tenets that we're going to teach. You have to be a humble giver as you are a receiver. Okay? And Puffy did a lot of good. They tried to take away his key to the city, his honorary doctorate degree. He founded a school in Harlem. He did many things, but he was a tyrant on the other hand. And there becomes that balance. So let's not judge him. He'll be dealt with. Okay? What we're going to teach you is that Puffy followed the formula and he became wealthy. He just abused. You have to be a dedicated servant. You have to be a shepherd. See, because none of this shit is permanent. I don't care how much you make, how much you earn, how wealthy you become. You are merely a shepherd for it. You will watch over it for your family. You will try to increase it. You will share it. If you don't have any family to give, don't worry about it. You can't take it with you. Somebody will get it. So you can't take it with you. So you do your best to share. All right? But these are the tenets and these are the things that we're going to do, man. So I just, my partner hadn't made it in. But I'm glad that some of you guys came on and know that these are the things that we're going to do and these are the things that we're going to share with you moving forward. All right? Because I read this book, man. Let me show you how thick it is. I read this book from cover to cover. Okay? Literally. And I read it over and over and over again. Because, how do they say? Nothing's new under the sun. This formula doesn't change. The seasons change the whole bit, but then they come back around. So whatever applied and worked back then, it works now, even though that's technology here. Because see, way back then, what they were doing at that particular time with the steel mills and all that was technology. So what technology does for us today, it just helps us do what they did just a little bit faster, a little more efficient. But you have to build a foundation. I notice a lot of people on social media, man, They're here. They're flash in the pan. Don't get me wrong. They may have been on for about 3 to 4 to 5 months, making tens of $20,000 to $30,000 a month, and then all of a sudden the bottom fell down. That's because they built no foundation. Okay? One thing about it, we have not made that kind of money, but we have a foundation. 5 years later, here we are. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. And we're here to stay. So, at any rate, man, thank you guys for coming on board. Again, join us next week. We'll be sending out notifications and everything, and this is what we're going to do. But we hope to get your input like the brother Skinny gave earlier. We hope to get your input. We hope to share the screen with you. And we look forward to you. Look, go to our online bookstore at www.bookshop.org/shop/Sonetquity and purchase your books from us. Tell a friend, tell 5 friends. Join our book club. Join Sonetquity Book Club. There's no fee not to join our book club. It's free. And purchase your monthly books from us. And we're going to show you what we're going to do for each and every one of you as members, as our numbers and our volumes grow. Okay? Help us do that. Help us help you. Okay? And for those of you who are interested in Botana oil, DM me. Okay? And I'll show you how to set up your affiliate business. Or if not your affiliate business, I can tell you how to just continue to be a customer, and then you can be paid for referrals. Okay? Man, we have a bunch of things going on in our wheelhouse. So let's put it together, and let's be bold, and let's be brave. Mr. David Bryant, I know you're probably on that call for Smart Desktop AI. Smart Desktop AI is coming back around, ladies and gentlemen. But we're going to take our time, and we're going to let them take care of everyone and pay everyone off. But if you have a business and you're going to be doing advertising the whole bit, you want to be a part of Smart Desktop AI. Mr. David Bryant is going to brief me later and let me know what's going on, and I'll share that with you guys. All right? Billionaires Roundtable Conference, man. Thank you guys for coming on board. I appreciate you. Enjoy your week, and we'll see you next week. Peace.